land on which we gather, the Turrbal people of Yuggera land, as well as the Woiwurrung people of the Wurundjeri land. We recognise their continued connection to the land and waters of this beautiful place and acknowledge that they never ceded sovereignty. We respect all Turrbal and Woiwurrung elders and ancestors and any First Nations people here today.
Good evening. The Kegster here from the new Blurt. We're just trialling a new format at the moment. So I'd just like to say that I'm coming to you from the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. And we will be introducing which nation we're coming from each week from now on to give more respect to the Indigenous of this great nation. I'd just like to also say we're on the home stretch. The light is at the end of the tunnel. Will the grass be greener on the other side? This is the question. Oh, will we find a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? Well, we'll find out with Dylan from Newsfighters Podcast as we wade through the shit to see who ends up smelling like roses. Now, on tonight's show, Dylan is going to go through with us regarding the shit show that is the election 2022. And as you know, it's all over on Saturday, although if we have a hung parliament, it could be all over on Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. Just depends. Depends what you wish for as well. But the other thing we're going to talk about tonight is we'll probably talk about the COVID situation. There's quite a few different COVID situations around the world at the moment, which are really quite peculiar. There's one in North Korea where they're freaking out because they've had one case. So there's been a national lockdown. China's doing their normal thing, just locking down basically a mega city as soon as they get a case. And Australia just keeps going down with around about, 17,000 cases a day or so and 50-odd deaths. But who knows? Who cares? No one even knows what COVID is anymore. No one talks about it. No one wants to even discuss it, especially not our politicians. So with that being said, I think it's now time to bring in the illustrious co-host of this podcast. And I always like to do it with a little bit of Wency.
Yes, great introduction. Yeah.
Yes, please. Go for it.
I'm hoping that'll be us on Saturday night, just celebrating.
Yes, I know. I definitely don't want to be hearing any of this sort of music anywhere at all.
No, absolutely not.
Definitely do not want to be in that situation. No, I'm very much on tenterhooks at the moment, my friend.
Yes.
Toe is a Roman sandal, as they say.
As they say, yeah. Anxious, nervous, excited.
Well,
yes.
Excited. Just very anxious. Very anxious.
Oh, there's a little bit of me that's excited and happy about this one. The campaign's just been so bloody long.
I know. Well,
and yeah, it's just been a shit show of debates and gotcha questions and what job can't he do, Mr. Morrison?
Yeah, no, well, that's it. Well, I mean, he can weld a muffin with the best of them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh dear. Yes,
it's just unbelievable. What he won't do. I don't know what he wouldn't do. Actually, I wish there was some some naked skydivers that really needed some money that was in a marginal Liberal seat in Arizona or something. Because that'd be great. It's strange to see their Prime Minister coming out completely starkers, jumping out of a plane.
Jelly wrestling. What else?
They're horrible. I got to run those images out of my head straight away. That's just I cannot do that anymore. That's I cannot.
Yeah. Let's change topic. Let's get that image out of our head. I want to celebrate and mention that today is International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Interphobia, and Transphobia, or Ida Hobbit. That's the acronym. Yeah, Ida Hobbit. International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Interphobia, and Transphobia.
It's a good place to hide a hobbit.
It is. As you know, I'm a proud dad of a gender diverse child who struggles day to day in life. There's he doesn't get representation in the media. So media, TV shows, books. It's very hard to feel like he's part of society. And then when you get candidates like Catherine Deves spouting their rubbish, just makes people in the community just livid. Yeah. So on a day like today, I really want everyone to accept who we are, and that we're all the same deep down. We have different views, different people we love, people we don't love, because not everyone has to find a loving partner for the rest of their life. Some people, like my child, is happy to be friends with anyone, but not have a platonic loving relationship. Yeah. So So
do you think that can or would change in the future though? Because you're I don't call them daughter or son. What do I?
Yeah, son. Son's good.
Son. Okay, cool. So your son is still very young. So I mean, he's got a long time to work. Sort of that out, I suppose. But that's how they feel now.
Yeah, that's exactly how they feel now, and I keep telling them that yes, progress has been made, not as quickly as you'd like, but back in our day, or even in the last 20, 30 years, things haven't moved that quickly. And it's only in the last 5 or so years, I think, that all these communities have been accepted a lot more than what they used to, especially when we were younger. We talk about it more. It's out in the open more and things like that. So yeah, there's I think
the activism on that side is so much more than it has been. The last 5, as you say, probably 5-8 years or so. In particular, there's been some very big sort of celebrities that have been involved, and especially with the same-sex marriage, there was a lot of big names, and then sort of well-known doctors, coming out as well, talk about these sort of things. And
exactly.
Yeah, you're right, though. It's amazing because to think that it is, I feel very uneducated because I would have had no idea if you did not tell the Blurtsters today that it is Ida Hobbit Day. I wouldn't have had a clue. I haven't seen it in the media anywhere. It hasn't popped up in anything.
No, it's been very, very under the radar, so to speak. So I only came across it because I was doing some work in Canva last week, and they were promoting it. And then I went, oh, right, okay, better talk about it and let's get it out in the open. Hence why, over here, this way.
Yeah.
No, hang on, where is it?
Yeah, no, you're right. No,
there.
You're right.
There.
No, you're right. And
so
there, yes.
There.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
Yeah, so look at that.
Both you're pointing to, both correct.
Yeah, exactly.
But, that is phenomenal. So we'll obviously have a link in the show notes to where people can read more about this.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
can do that.
Excellent. Okay.
Just want to get it out in the open so people know it's there. Don't be scared of it. They're the same as you and I. So don't treat them any differently to the way you treat your friends. That's all I can say.
100%. Well said, Wency. Again, I just wish I saw more about it, but I'll definitely read in the show notes for sure because I know you'll have some links on it. But it's it's a shame that it hasn't come up more because it definitely damn well should be. And as you say, I mean, the thing with the Catherine Deves thing is that she's an intelligent woman. I mean, she's a lawyer.
Yeah. I heard that today that she was a lawyer. I was thinking,
Grace Tame was talking about this. She knows exactly what she's saying, and she knows it's complete bullshit. Yeah, that's the worst part. And she's hurting a community that gets doesn't need any more hurt. So,
and for a cause that affects 0.005% of the female sporting community.
Oh, it's just we could go on about this, but we cannot because we have a magnificent guest and we need to bring them in. But just before I do that, I need to just do this. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Wednesday in the Kickstar. How's it going? Happy 50th!
Poor Dan. He's just really not on the ball, is he? That was about 30 episodes ago.
Sure. Let's just move back from there.
Hey guys, I've just reseated that.
Please, off the thing.
Sorry, mate.
All good? That's all good. Thanks.
Off the thing. It's called a lawn. It's not that hard, but you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let's hope that's the last time we play it.
Yes. It would be great if it was. It would be very great. Good evening, Dylan. Great to see you. How you going?
Hello, yes. Dylan from Newsfighters here, checking in with an election update and all the wacky clips you can stand. How are you guys going?
Yeah, not too bad, Dylan.
Yeah, I just thought I'd stop by and see how you guys are holding up. Last week of the election this week, how are you guys feeling? And happy Ida Hobbit Day, of course. I don't know if you remember, Peter Dutton tried to ban Ida Hobbit morning teas. Do you remember this?
No,
Do tell.
Yeah, it was. It was. It was last year, and I found the article here. 2021 Ida Hobbit Day in May. Employees were encouraged to have celebrate Ida Hobbit Day in COVID-safe ways. Wearing rainbows, having a morning tea. And Peter Dutton was like, "Not on my watch."
Yeah, no.
Which I think is very scary if he becomes opposition leader or prime minister. He says Peter Dutton banned Ida Hobbit celebrations, claiming we are not pursuing a woke agenda. And by woke agenda, he of course means tolerance.
Yes, exactly.
Just horrible. Just horrible.
It is horrible.
How he gets re-elected, I have no idea.
Oh, Jesus. There is some good news, though, Dylan. As you would know, Shane Vazzy had that court case against him, and it looks like his appeal came through. So that was good.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I can't believe the stress this poor. I follow him on Twitter. He's, as far as I know, he's unemployed. On the dole with a partner, and he posted a 6-word tweet just about Peter Dutton and then Peter Dutton sued him. And Peter Dutton was trying to make an example of him. Peter Dutton, of course, said, "Oh, we've got to sue these people on social media who are, being libelous, defaming people," and it backfired on him. So I'm glad that test case didn't work through. It's a real win for implied freedom of speech that we have in this country.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly. Actually, it's funny that you're talking about freedom of speech. There's a guy in America that was claiming his freedom of speech last year for being an anti-vaxxer and saying, it's my right to be able to, it's my choice, my body. But this guy is vehemently against women getting an abortion.
Right, of course.
Yes, the my body, my choice thing seems to, in America, be very selective.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. As long as it's a male body, my control. Women's bodies, no, still out control.
Who's that great comedian who said if men needed abortions, you'd be able to get them at the 7-Eleven? I think was it Sarah Silverman or someone?
I don't know, but
it wouldn't surprise me. If that sounds like a Sarah Silverman thing to say, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. But sort of getting back to the election side of things, have you been getting any sort of wacky stunts, or people been, I don't know, graffitiing boards up your end, or it's been some weird and wonderful things happening in Monique Ryan's area? Josh.
Well, we've kind of got a whole cross-selection of the East Coast capitals here, don't we? I'm in Sydney. You guys are in Melbourne and Brisbane. Here in Sydney, I'm in Anthony Albanese's very, very safe Labor seat. So all I know is everyone loves Albo, and that's about it, to be honest. Haven't seen much else. But we do have there's quite a few of the seats here that the Teal Independents are targeting, and I saw that Dan Illick and his It's Not a Race project Scott Morrison hasn't been to these seats to campaign, so he got these great cardboard cutouts of Scott Morrison's face that you can put on the election posters,
on the core flutes,
in the election areas. If you're a Trent Zimmerman or a Dave Sharma, and don't want to be seen with Scott Morrison, and in the case of, I think, Dave Sharma, don't even have the Liberal logo on a lot of your posters. You can just have that little reminder. It's like, oh, that's right, he's with him. Now I remember. What about you guys in the other cities? What's it feel like on the ground there?
Jeffrey,
well, okay. I'm in the seat of Ryan, which is traditionally a Liberal seat, and in the last few state elections, and it's turned green, and now it's going to be a three-way race between Labor, Greens, and the Libs. The rising star Liberal candidate who has taken this seat from a very safe seat to a marginal seat looks like he's going to get unseated with a bit of luck.
This
and
is
hopefully
Ryan.
the Greens. This is Ryan.
Who's the member? Who's the Liberal member?
Julian Simmons.
Okay, I don't know him.
So he's a career politician. So he started out in council, then I think he went to state politics, and then at the last election he managed to brown nose his way into the federal seat of Ryan. So so he's turned it from a very safe to a marginal Liberal seat. So it'd be interesting this Saturday.
And I don't think up here in Sydney, John Alexander quitting Bennelong has helped the Liberals either. Like there's been
they liked him, I think, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, a lot of it's not just the people with independents coming in. There's been there's a few Liberals that people have that when the local member goes, they don't like them. But even we had our New South Wales State Transport Minister Andrew Constance here decide to take a run at a federal seat down on the New South Wales South Coast near where the bushfires were, and he's famous for standing up to Scott Morrison during the bushfires. And the latest polls on that don't have him winning, so he might be moving out of politics altogether, which is such a shame for the Sydney Transport Minister. He'll have to try and get the train home, and he'll have no luck with that whatsoever because it's Sydney.
Yeah, the thing with Andrew Constance is you're spot on. I mean, when the bushfires were on, he actually wasn't in a way, and as you know, he had a lot of good things to say, and he was actually helping out with the community. And as you were saying before, he was saying basically how freaking disappointed he was in slow-mo. But unfortunately, he's walked back from that. And now he's sort of sucking on the Liberal teat again, as it were. And, sort of professing his undying love for ScoMo again. So, it's probably a really good reason maybe why he made it.
And that seat is a Labor-held seat at the moment, is it? No?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's very close or very much.
It's only a couple. Points
a lot of the South Coast, Eden Monero, of course, famously the south of the South Coast seat for New South Wales was up until a couple of elections ago the bellwether. So a lot of the seats there, because they have a lot of retirees and forestry workers and tourism and people, very bellwether.
Yeah.
So interesting to see what happens there. And as I was saying before, I in Western Sydney, of course, huge area here, 2 million people there. I did a big bike ride last weekend out through Western Sydney, and I saw a lot of Liberal posters out. The Liberals have selected very, very ethnically diverse candidates that match the local multicultural populations there, and Labor's parachuting in rich white people. So Western Sydney could stay Liberal or swing potentially. I know those seats are very, very, very close as well. So
that's really interesting. Because I would never have thought or guessed that the LNP would field non-white candidates and put in culturally diverse candidates.
In New South Wales, at least, they're doing a very, very good job on this. Out on, I went and did pre-poll on the weekend, and I met the local Grangela Liberal candidate, who is a Asian Australian businessman, and I think the Liberals are very good at. I think Gladys Liu's a great example of that. I think it's I don't know. Maybe the attitude is if we're probably not going to win the seat, let's at least put someone up who's a popular local person, strong with the community, and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, that one, I don't know. That's a good way to think. But then you go, well, why the hell did they parachute Catherine Deves from God knows where?
Well, it's interesting. Yeah. Well, I think that was no one ever thought Catherine Deves would win, at least up here in Sydney. Zali Steele's very popular. So I think, and it was a captain's pick. Remember Scott Morrison? There was that last minute captain's picking by Scott Morrison of all the New South Wales candidates. So I don't think they ever thought Catherine Deves would win. But the Catherine Deves strategy, as far as I can work out, and it's horrible. Her anti-trans, her transphobic remarks are just. She should have resigned. She should have been fired immediately. For
even Matt Cain said that.
So. All the horrible things she said. But the longer term strategy at play here is the Guardian had an interesting article about the Liberals. Look, they're not authorised by anyone, so who knows where they come from. But in non-English speaking community WeChat groups, there's a lot of unauthorized messaging going around about how Labor will turn your children gay in Chinese languages and stuff, which is just absolutely horrible and wrong. But I think the longer term strategy of the Liberals here is very much to turn their party right wing and Trump and divide Australia on these wedge social issues, which is just horrible.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know as well as I do that basically the UAP's whole pretense and, well, complete bullshit and lies is straight from America. It's totally just straight from America. Anti-vax, anti-democracy just about. And, I mean, you might have seen it, Dylan, but the AEC is quite concerned about the amount of misinformation and fraud sort of information on polling and how real, about the election being stolen bullshit. As I say, it's just been completely imported from America. And I think UAP are having what they call scrutineers, which I've never even heard of before.
Every party has scrutineers in the polling
every booth
after the polls close too.
Do they do it all the time? Do they? Is that something?
Every election, and every party can send in a certain number of people. So if you're a volunteer for a political party, you can volunteer and stand and watch people count votes, which sounds like lots of fun.
Yeah, actually, I am. I did it at
wow.
the state election here in Queensland a couple of years ago. Found it very fascinating because you actually get to see the AC officials. They bring in the box, they look at each other, and they say, "All right, about to cut the thing, the string or whatever it is that ties them together." And then they pour it all upside down, and they start counting. So when you're there representing your party, you want to make sure that things are being counted correctly. And if there's any doubt of a ballot that doesn't look clear, you want to go in there and go, okay, no, that is very clear, 1 or a 2, whatever number.
Or and
so, oh no, cocks are allowed, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know that.
The ASC have
you see a lot of those?
No, I didn't. No, I'll keep an eye on it. This one.
I think we should be saying that on this program too often.
Entertain the scrutineers, because you can draw a funny picture or whatever.
Yeah.
As long as the boxes are numbered correctly, everything else is irrelevant, which is great. Like it's not. Yeah, they don't discount a ballot just because it's got a cock and balls on it, which is great. I love that about Australia.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll be there scrutineering for. After the election, when the polls are closed this week, I've dragged my wife in as well, so she's going to do at a different booth. So we'll both get the experience federally, and I think it's actually quite a bit of fun. You actually get to talk to the other volunteers, and they're not all terrible. Some of the LNP might be, but
no,
not all terrible.
No, and that's got to be said too. I mean, some of my best friends are Liberals. I mean.
We'll forgive him for that.
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing. I mean, I've been a staunch Labor for years, but as probably the last 5 or so years in particular, I've always sort of been more going towards the Green side just because I know that climate change is so freaking important for this election. And I suppose that's one thing I've been disappointed with, Dylan, that we just haven't been talking about it enough. I know, as you said, that Dan has, he's doing everything he possibly can from an irrational fear point of view with trying to get climate change out there front and center. And he's also said that, I think he said that it's the number one issue for voters. But I haven't sort of seen that come up in the news so much. But
it's amazing, the ABC that on Insiders, they've been out vox popping people all around Australia, and everyone of every age they're going, what's the most important issue? And they're all saying climate change, which is fascinating. And I'm not sure what the latest vote compass results are, but I think it was, if it wasn't first, it was second to the economy, but it was definitely high up on vote compass as well. So
what I've found lacking in the campaign is not only just the lack of actual serious action or talk about doing something with climate action, but no one other than the Greens they're the only ones who are actually talking about a transition package to deliver free education and equal pay if they move into a new industry and things like that. The two other big major parties just don't talk about transition, and I think that is what these people who live in those communities need. They want certainty from a government saying, hey, we're going to do this and this and this to help you guys.
Or even there was a great Four Corners last week or the week before talking about how we have to mine essential minerals for making batteries. Why isn't Labor just telling all the coal miners they'll get a job digging up lithium somewhere?
Yeah, exactly.
This seems really, really obvious to me. But the thing is, I'm not in those seats. Maybe they are. Maybe they're the Facebook ads they're getting.
Yeah. And it probably is that all those other industries don't exist where you work and live. You'll have to travel hundreds of kilometers somewhere else to stay in the same job, and that's probably what they're afraid of.
True, but a lot of miners do FIFO already, and
true.
Maybe there's.
Well, that's it. I mean, they do the FIFO, don't they? So I mean, because there's so much coin in it. I mean, when Western Australia was just going mental from that perspective, from a mining perspective. Their FIFO, the amount of fly in, fly out workers they have is huge. And I remember when, it's not now, definitely not now, but I remember when housing in Western Australia was going through the roof because, and people couldn't even, who'd been there forever, etc., couldn't even afford to rent anymore. And people that had houses there obviously were wrapped because people just come over and pay an exorbitant, ridiculous price. If you went there now, that price of those houses have dropped like just ridiculous, probably 20-30%. So unfortunately, they're losing value. But that's what happens when, as you say, you don't have a proper transition into an environment that doesn't have fossil fuels anymore. And that's obviously what we need to do.
Well, I think Labor's small target is very much don't promise too much.
Last election.
That's it.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But I think Biden more or less promised a lot of the same things at the last election. I don't know how good he's been going at promising those, because it's easy to say that we'll shut down coal mines and transition everyone, but you've got to argue with the companies that own the coal mines. They might not be in favor of that. But my other issue with climate is that Scott Morrison is out and about constantly just lying about the coalition's net zero plan. On 7:30 with Lee Sales last night, he was saying emissions are down by 20%. That's a lie. He was saying, we're going to get there with carbon capture and storage, which doesn't work. It's just like, I just wish in all these interviews where he spouts this nonsense, the journos would just call him out on it, because he's saying these lies over and over. And I think what he's doing here is he's trying to convince enough, upper middle class people that they are doing something on climate change, so they won't feel guilty voting for the coalition, when actually the Nationals, Matt Canavan, are out there saying, oh no, we're not going to do anything, net zero is there anyway. So for people who can't call out the bullshit and don't follow the spin, it's easy to go, he said net zero, great, well, vote for him, great, we'll be fine, when he'll actually do less than nothing.
But that is the problem though, Dylan. We've got about 17, 18, 19 million people voting, And unfortunately, and you know this, it's only going to be like 15% or maybe even less of Australia that is going to dictate who we have as our Prime Minister. And that 15% or less scares the shit out of me because I hear them when they're vox pop. And I'm just like, oh, my God, do you read ever? Is there any time you actually pick up a book?
But here it all comes down to compulsory voting. I think that are you guys in favour? I'm very much in favour, but
totally in favour.
But it does mean you have a large section of the population who's not politically informed, who will vote based off the ads or a leaflet or or more likely what their mate says down the pub.
I heard on a vox pop the other day that one guy said he's just going to vote for whoever's got the most banners at the polling booth. I went, seriously? So that could be UAP, could be One Nation.
We had a party here in New South Wales, I think, at a state election called the Sex Party. And they got, I think 1 or 2% of people who would just go, Sex Party, and vote. Like, that was their whole reason for voting for them. They just saw the name and went,
Well, you know, Jane Caro is actually representing the Sex Party.
No, she's with I see her posters around here. Isn't it the Reason Party or something?
Yeah, that was the Sex Party.
Oh, it was the Sex Party.
It was the Sex Party.
The name change is not going to do them any favors with the electorate. I can tell you that.
I would agree totally, 100%. But I know.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know if did you see the latest poll that just came out tonight before we came on air?
Please tell me it's still the same as what it was.
Well, look, a lot of people discount the Sydney Morning Herald poll, but it's unfortunately it's tightened to 51-49.
Are you kidding me?
So I think, I mean, I don't know. I was so disappointed with 2019. I think Scott. I think enough of these uninformed voters might get ScoMo across the line because, people don't remember the lockdowns and COVID and the vaccine rollout. People, life's back to normal largely, and the net zero thing is like, good enough. Yeah. And I think enough people will rather have the devil they hate than Albanese they don't know.
Fucking change that may actually improve their life. Yeah, it's just so demoralizing. It really is demoralizing.
Well, I'm mentally preparing myself for 3 more years of ScoMo, or it'll be 6 months of ScoMo and then Dutton probably.
I'm definitely going to move to New Zealand if that's the case.
I'll see you there.
Yeah. Where did you say Wellington's good?
Wellington's great. Yeah, exactly.
Any part of freaking New Zealand. The thing is, though, Dylan, I've got bad news for you. Jacinda Ardern is 44-47 with their national party over there at the moment.
Oh, she's doing a shit job.
I
don't know.
She's been in a while now, hasn't she? Like 7 years or something?
Yeah, it's her second term. She killed this one. She killed her second term. But the first time she needed the help of Winston Peters, I think it was.
That's right. Well, yeah, given she squeaked across the line the first time without a majority and she got a majority the second time, she could very well win again. Their system's weird. They've got the mixed member proportional representation thing. So often you don't need a majority to win. So who knows? But they just had their elections still a year or two away, I assume.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true. I think they just had theirs in 2020, maybe.
Yeah, I remember it. I think a lot of the world, because they had it very New Zealand. It was at a town hall, and like she came out to like a drum and bass song because it's New Zealand, and the crowd was packed and everyone was cheering. And I think it was like maybe December 2020, because the rest of the world was watching this footage going, what the hell? Because they were all locked down and people couldn't get together, and New Zealand was having like a rave. Yeah. The Prime Minister was having a rave with all these people.
Well, she hasn't been out and about for a little bit. She's got COVID, so.
October 2020. Yeah, the whole rest was the last Kiwi election. Yeah, everyone, the rest of the world was like, what's going on? Anyway, so I brought some clips along just to sum up the campaign. Will we just to leave on a lighter note?
All right.
So as I said before, I played a couple of these on the Chaser Report a couple of weeks ago. I was going to play some more this week, so I brought some along.
Which one do you want to start with?
Their loss is our game.
I'll set them up. So so during the election campaign, both sides, Liberal and Labor, have a plane, and all the journalists fly around all day and film them, and then they go out and have drinks, as we know, because you've seen ScoMo get shouted out when he goes out for drinks with the media. But anyway, so they do these photo ops, and the media, the parties set up these photo ops with just ripe for the journalists to make lazy, bad puns. So maybe the first one we'll play was ScoMo went to a French bakery in Townsville.
This is going to be terrible.
A patisserie, and of course, and he was there like making macaroons, and it was the day after Macron had been re-elected. Like these press people, these liberal media people were like, "Oh, I know what we'll do," and then of course the media just fell right into their trap and did this.
All right.
Delivering election sweet.
Let's see if I think I got the right one.
Scott Morrison is delivering election sweeteners up and down the East Coast.
Making one French favourite while congratulating another.
But if you think making macarons is difficult, there we go. Healing relations with a Macron will be trickier.
Scott Morrison calls that criticism half-baked.
Yes, lots of great baking puns there.
God.
ScoMo's best outing, though, was when he literally went to a bait and tackle shop, like an outdoors shop, a fishing shop, I think on the Central Coast here in New South Wales. And the media fell for it, hook, line and sinker.
Fishing for votes. Today he's fishing for votes.
Scott Morrison hoping to lure more Australians to vote for the coalition.
The New South Wales Central Coast, Mr Morrison hoping voters take the bait.
Winning over the public can require a bit of bait.
Hoping voters would be taken hook, line and sinker by his announcement.
By casting $20 million.
Casting for the votes of weekend warriors.
Although he wasn't keen to be on the hook for any questions on the pledge.
Oh, isn't that...
Just gets better and better and better.
Yeah.
But the Liberals are geniuses at this, and they get on the news every night with these. Albo and Labor, just not so much. They're always visiting like aged care homes and hospitals. Like nothing there. The best they could do, and this reflects on how bad Labor is at setting up pun photo ops. One of the best ones, one of the only Labor ones I could find was like Albo held a sausage sizzle in Perth. And they got a couple. Have a listen.
The temperature on their opponents. But tomorrow, the opposition will serve up its main course.
Anthony Albanese's focus right now is on Western Australia, hoping to snag some key seats from the Liberal Party.
I mean, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, not as good as the others.
Not as good as the bait and tackle shop. But the absolute best pun run of this whole campaign. Actually, it wasn't something the Liberals did on purpose. It was, I don't know if you remember, Josh Frydenberg was endorsed by Guide Dogs Victoria.
Yes.
And then the person from Guide Dogs got in a lot of trouble. Well, one journalist at Channel 9 in Victoria in Melbourne just I think they must be a frustrated like comedy writer or something, because they just had an absolute field day. Have a listen.
All right, let's have a listen.
The dog-eat-dog world, but the Guide Dogs Victoria CEO, Karen Hayes, now on a short leash after she publicly backed member for Kooyong, Josh Frydenberg, for re-election. And no amount of puppy dog eyes can spare the organisation, the
I wish he was running for election.
Regulator. The Treasurer says critics are barking up the wrong tree. Whitney Kooyong will be no walk in the park for Josh Frydenberg. Nipping at his heels, independent Monique Ryan, an underdog who could soon be top dog.
Look, we need to bring funding back for ABC comedy shows. This is all these people are out making news there. Anyway, a mate of mine, Dermot, sent me that. So thanks.
That was very good, but also very bad.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
entertaining, to say the least.
Well, thanks for the chat. And let's see who we wind up with on Sunday. Is it going to be the bulldozer or the loose unit?
Exactly. Well, tonight I am drinking in honor of election week.
Hawks legend. I hope it's a good omen.
So hopefully,
hope it's a good omen.
And my next one's going to be hopefully this one.
The chop.
The chop.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Dylan.
All right, thanks for having me. All the best.
Appreciate your time.
Happy election.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you too. Cheers, mate. Okay. Oh, they were not so punny puns. Clever, but not funny. Have we got
Yes.
Kexter on the line? Have we got Kexter on the line? You do.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Can you hear me
Okay.
all right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to do that.
The Australia Institute produces high-quality research that has real-world impact, whether it's revealing the $10.3 billion in fossil fuel subsidies provided by federal and state governments last year, or our long-standing research advocating for a federal anti-corruption commission with real teeth. We change minds. To donate, head on over to australiainstitute.org.au.
Very true. Well, the starters, just obviously like to thank Dylan for giving us time on the show and those wacky, terrible, horrible, disgraceful clips. But he must spend a bit of time getting those, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, he was. What was he? Video editor for?
I think he still is.
And still is. Yeah.
Well, I think he's a video editor still. I think it's his day job still. But yeah, I think he used to write and video edit for Tonightly.
Yeah,
with Tom Ballard. Yeah. Which I only found out recently that I believe Dan Illich was on the Tonightly as well. I think he wrote for it as well.
Oh, right. I didn't realise that.
No.
That was a good show.
Yeah, it was. It was a cracker. I think Will Anderson took Tom sort of Ballard aside at one stage and said, look, you've got a fantastic show. It's an absolute cracker. But do you maybe don't swear quite as much? Because maybe the ABC doesn't like that as much. I mean, I think in the old days it wouldn't have been so bad, but it's quite a conservative board now. So
extremely now.
Yeah, so you got to be careful. I think.
Yeah, it's almost like the Channel 9. I didn't realise Peter Costello was on the board, which is why.
Did you not know that he's the chairman of the board?
No, I had no idea until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, no wonder Channel 9's like that now.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't watched Channel 9 or 7 in, I don't know, years.
No.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, in fact, Channel 9 and Channel 7, sorry about that. That's worse than the C word in our house. So it really is. It's pretty bad.
I blame baby fog brain when we used to watch Sunrise when our kids were young. But I think that's because we were having so little sleep that we just needed anything to keep us awake.
Look, I remember those days as well. I did watch Sunrise. I do because I remember when hockey used to be on with Albo, I think.
No, it was Ruddy. Yeah, it was Ruddy.
Apparently, they were quite good mates, apparently.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they're still good mates, but yeah, it did get fiery on TV when they were.
Yeah, no, it absolutely, definitely did. It was interesting that that Dylan is from Grainler electorate, and he's got Albo, and I'm from Maribyrnong, and I've got Bill Shorten.
Yeah. Let's hope that's not an omen because we know what happened last time.
Did you have to say that? Did you really have to say that? I mean, seriously, you don't have to say everything that comes into your head, Winston. Honestly, just don't do it. Don't do it. I got to tell you, bloody Dylan did not make me happy.
Why? Because of the polls.
Oh.
And look how accurate they were last time. They were so inaccurate. So,
but Barry Cassidy was saying just the other day that you can't keep lambasting the polls every election now. I mean, they've got it right quite a few times. It was just in 2019 it wasn't.
You've got to remember, you've also got to consider how the polls are taken because some of them don't even acknowledge the Independents or the Greens, for example, as one of the major parties, and it's always the question: would you vote Labor or Liberal? Not everyone will vote one of them, and it comes down to your preferences. So
no, you're right. It's polarizing. It's a polarizing question, really, because I mean, some of the stuff that I've been reading is that they are predicting that Allegra Spender will beat Sharma. Actually, talking about that. I might be able to, if I'm fast enough, be able to play Dave Sharma's theme song.
Oh, okay.
I think
this
I
would
may
be interesting.
able to. Yeah, I'll see if I can.
Is it something that I can vote for on the Hardest 100 for Triple J?
Yeah, no, it may
Let's have a
be.
listen.
It could be. I just need to. Here we go. I think I should be able to. Yeah, here we go. So I've found it, and apparently this is what he likes to groove to. I'm hearing in the traps, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
So, hold on to your horses on this one and see if we can get a little bit of
the Sharma.
There's light in your eyes all the way. If we listen to your lies, what would you say? I'm a brand without conviction. I'm a man who doesn't know where we spy. I don't think we have to have copyright to play this.
No, I don't think so.
You gotta go. Time to go. In for the chorus. Shama, 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 chameleon. Time to go. It's gotta go. Oh, can you find where it says you're liberal? On point as well. On point.
Yeah.
Every day is like survival. Don't let's go more. He's your rival. Oh, yeah. Every day is like survival. You're not more. Got no Bible. Doesn't have any Bible. That's what he's talking about. That's what he's talking. So apparently, that's Dave Sharma's theme song. That's
right. Okay. Like I said before, I think that's going to go into my Hottest 100 shortlist. Awesome.
Yeah, you're probably 101.
Hey, at least it's in the charts. It'll be on the Sunday, not the Saturday. The Hottest 200.
Yes. The hottest 5,000. But anyway, now we are going to talk COVID. It's very hard not to talk election when there's so much shit going on. But we are going to talk COVID. Did you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I was just only going to quickly talk about, and I think we alluded to it earlier. You did, and I think maybe Dylan, where during the campaign, COVID? What COVID? That doesn't exist. Yeah. Today alone, there were 66 deaths across the nation.
17,000 cases, I believe.
Something like that, and it's the same story day in, day out, where dozens and dozens of people are dying, and I'm guessing a lot of them are still in aged care. So a lot of our loved ones in aged care, where there's still probably no PPE, being staffed by underpaid staff.
Yeah.
So nothing's really changed in the last 2 years, COVID-wise, with this lot.
It's yeah. I mean, and again, it does come back to politics, because it's so frustrating, so annoying that when you hear people vox popped and you hear someone go, "Well, they got this through the election so well, got to vote for Scott Morrison. I only hear of him all the time." I'm like, yeah.
He didn't get us through it. He got pulled and screaming on to do things by the states because he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah,
he never saved us.
It was despite him that we got through it, not because of him. That's what exactly just shits me up the wall. And as Dylan alluded to and was talking about as well, and yeah, this does my head in as well, especially with some of the ABC now. You're interviewing him, and he says that meet and beat, go down the street, eat some feet. It just shits me up the wall. But he talks about targets, right? Because that's what they say all the time: meet and beat. I'm just sick of that bullshit, right? It's all crap anyway. But the thing is that they say they're 20%. The missions are 20% lower, and they're meeting in target. It's just a absolute load of shit.
Yeah.
And they're actually -1, or they're only 1% or something. But the thing is that none of the journalists, either they're not smart enough, they don't understand climate change, or they just don't want to pull him up when he's wrong. Because he's wrong.
They just don't question him.
All the time.
Because that 20% is wrong for lots of reasons, but main ones being the government has compared Australia's figures in 2020 when emissions were really low. The other countries they've been comparing with were from previous years when there was no COVID. And so, of course, the emissions were high and Australia's emissions were low because of COVID. And so there's no real apples for apples comparisons to get to that 20%. So it's just bullshit. It's just lies. Hence the title of our show, Fire the Liar from the Shire.
Yes,
it's just,
please do that.
We just can't have this anymore.
No, we can't. Wency and I are finding it very hard to cope at the moment. We haven't even talked about COVID yet, which we have talked a little bit about.
Well, we have. It's all related.
Yes, it is all related. That's the whole problem. It is all completely related. And the other thing, I've got a couple of things on COVID outside of Australia. Well, one thing is New Zealand's still getting about 9,000 cases a day and around about 40 deaths or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And we're, as you know, we're flying there this weekend. And we have to just jump through hoops to get a PCR and all this sort of stuff to get on the plane. Wow. Yeah, we do. And you have to pay for that as well because it's part of your travel. It's not you can't just get you can't just jump into a line and get a PCR. You have to go to their proper clinics that have to be authorized and all this.
Is that once you land in New Zealand?
No, we have to do it before we leave Australia.
Right. Okay.
So so I'm staying home from work this week. I think one of the biggest things is just keeping out of the trams, etc.
Yeah. Just away from public, really. Just away from people.
Yeah.
People you don't know.
That's it. Dirty people. Keep away. Yeah. Talking about keeping away and dirty people. Just going back to a couple of things you were saying before. With the scrutineer, there's a dude that's going to be a scrutineer for the UAP, right? And he's an anti-vaxxer and he's not vaccinated. Yeah, good luck for anyone that's in that room with him.
That's a good point. Yeah, well, I'll probably end up wearing a mask anyway.
I would,
like I have been, because I'm still wearing masks at shopping centres, public transport.
Oh, if I'm in a shopping centre, I'm definitely wearing a mask.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. I have not stopped doing that, and I always wear them on trams. I don't wear them if I go for a coffee or whatever so much. And if I was inside, I probably would, but I'm nearly always outside now. Put the heater on, grill heater on outside, and stay outside.
Yeah,
it's just us. There's no one else.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, exactly.
You know, must have came. The other thing I wanted to say as well, but I can't remember, so it doesn't matter. But
it'll come. It'll come.
It will. It will. So I've got a bit of COVID here. This is American COVID, and it talks about how often can you be infected with the coronavirus. So they've found some information here that the virus shows, as we know, no signs of disappearing. Central problem with the coronavirus become more adept at reinfecting people, which we absolutely know. You still haven't had it, have you?
No. Touch wood. Where's wood?
These modern day houses, I don't know. Already those infected with the first Omicron variant are reporting second infections with the newer versions of the variant, BA2, BA2.1121. United States of BA4, BA5 in South Africa.
Gosh.
As we know, that's where Delta came from.
Yeah.
So, well, at least that's, where they first found it. Maybe it didn't come from there, but and those people may go on to have third or fourth infections. Even within this year, researchers said in interviews, and some small fraction may have symptoms that persist for months or years, condition known as long COVID.
Yeah.
So I got a friend of mine.
I'm trying not to get it. Which is why I'm trying not to get it, because I don't know.
Well,
long COVID.
No, well, that's the thing. But you're triple vax, so you've got a really good chance. But what I would do, and I would tell all blurtsters out there as well, if you can get the flu jab, go and get the flu jab. Because
I've always not liked getting it, because every time I've had it, and I've had it twice in my life, I get bad flu straight afterwards.
That would put you off slightly.
Yeah, so it's always put me off. So I'm still reluctant to do it, but knowing what's happening this year with COVID and what are they calling it? That Flurona?
Is that?
COVID?
Really? Yeah. When you're getting
flu and
COVID at the same time.
Yeah.
We've got a guy at work at the moment. It's not well at all, and he's testing negative to COVID, but he's not well.
Wow.
And I've got to talk about long COVID. I've got a friend of mine at work. They couldn't eat. He got COVID before he could get triple vaxxed.
Oh, no.
And now he keeps seeing specialists and all the rest of it because his lungs just aren't right. And he's a really fit guy.
Yeah.
And
so it hits everyone.
Yeah.
Fit, unfit, young, old.
It doesn't discriminate. There's no doubt about it.
No.
But it's likely to see that going to sort of be a long-term pattern, said Juliet Pulliam, an epidemiologist at Stellenbosch University in South Africa. So it's difficult to quantify how frequently people are infected, partly because many infections are now going unreported. This is another thing I was going to say. This is what's driving me insane with Australian reporting at the moment on COVID numbers, etc. And again, I don't know if it's lazy. I don't know if they don't want to specify or whatever, but it just does my head in, because what they've done is they've said that Australia is one of the worst in the world, which probably not one of the worst. It's not particularly great, but because of how much COVID we're still getting per capita, daily, etc. Apparently, per capita, it's more than America.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow, that I did not know, but
and
that's underreported.
The caveat that is not being talked about from the US, which does my head in, is that they are hardly testing. Testing, and if they're getting rat tests, they're 100% not reporting them, and lots of people aren't even getting rat tests.
Yeah.
So how the hell? I mean, from what I've read on what's going on in the States, they reckon are underreporting by 4 to 5 times.
I think that's the same here.
Well, I agree. I don't think it'd be 4 to 5 times, but I do think it's probably 2 or 3 without a doubt. Because I'm sure that people are getting a rat test going, I'm negative, and then not bothering to ring the number and blah, blah, blah. So
I'm surprised we're still seeing thousands of cases every day, because I would have thought, they're still testing?
I'm not. Well, okay, yeah, good call. Yeah. Good call. But there is 5% of Australia unvaxxed. So 5% of 25 million, what's that? 500,000? No, that's not right. 10%
750,000?
5, so that's
750,000. No, hang on.
It's 1.25, I think.
Yeah, 1.25.
Yeah, so there's still 1.25 million people that aren't vaxxed at all.
Ugh.
I know. That's my point. But the worst part about that is that I haven't caught up with it, but the third vax, as you know, isn't a booster. It's a critical third jab that you need to have.
Yeah.
It's not just a booster. You need to have this critical third jab. Don't just go, I don't think, you're not getting all the protection you're meant to have from the virus. You've got much more chance of being infected.
Okay, I thought it was just a booster.
No, they they talked about it as a booster, and then they tried to sort of reform that language to say it's a critical third jab, which it actually was. Dr. What's his name from CoronaCast?
Norman Swan.
Yeah, Norman Swan. Said that the reason that is because they tried to get the vaccine in and get it into people's arms so fast, they never quite got the amount they needed correct at the first time, because it was more about getting it in, getting something in there.
Something in,
faster than nothing. So they always had it in the back of their mind that there would be a third jab needed. But I would think it's going to be like the flu. You're going to need to get one every year from now on.
Yeah, I think so.
Or every 6 months even.
But the crazy thing is, it's killing people every day. So is that something we're going to be happy with? That's what I don't get. Well, we're not doing anything about it. Well, makes no sense to me.
No, none at all. None at all. But just what I was saying, the Omicron variant dashed those hopes. Unlike previous variants, Omicron and many descendants seem to have evolved to partially dodge immunity. That leaves everyone, even those who've been vaccinated multiple times, vulnerable to multiple infections. So I'll put this article in the show notes. Hopefully you should be able to get it. It is on the New York Times site, but according to me, I shouldn't be a member anymore. So I
think they allow a certain number of free articles you can read in a month, and often
okay. I was going to say I stopped my subscription. So
okay.
Yeah, because I got it really, really cheap for a while, so that's why I had a subscription. It's like $4 a month or something.
Yeah, and then they've charged you $100 a month now, and you're going, no, see ya.
Yeah, it went up to something like 22 or 24 or something.
Yeah.
So it's the same with the Saturday paper. The Saturday paper is
that's free all this week.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, people out there, if you're interested in a progressive paper, i.e., nothing owned by Murdoch. Read the Saturday paper. It's free until the election. So
yes, they've dropped the paywall this week, so you can see all the coverage.
Yeah.
Some of the journos there. Is it Catherine Murphy?
Yep.
Who else is there? I'm trying to remember.
Amy
I have read a few. Amy Ramikas. Yep.
Oh, you're talking about Saturday paper?
Yeah, Saturday paper.
Did she work? Catherine Murphy write for the Saturday paper?
That's why I was trying to remember.
No. I think you'll find it's Karen Middleton.
Karen Middleton. I knew it started
it's
with
either Karen Middleton or Nod Taylor. I always get those two mixed up.
Karen Middleton.
And I really like Karen Middleton. And Paul Bongiorno.
Oh, is he on that one too?
Yeah, he's on the Saturday paper. Yeah. It was interesting. I was listening to Late Night Live tonight, and Nikki Saville was on with Laura Tingle. Now, that is quite unusual. It's the first time Nikki Saville's ever been on these shows. So, as you know, she hates ScoMo. Maybe it lets people on that hate ScoMo. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'll put this in the show notes, but I thought this is pretty interesting. Until last week, North Korea had claimed to have come through you remember this? The Supreme Leader said that they were such a strong nation that because they haven't been vaxxed yet.
No, of course not, because nothing's allowed to come in or out of the country.
That's exactly right. And they couldn't monitor the vaccine. So anyway, now it has admitted to recording. It's admitted to recording more than 1.4 million cases in less than a week.
Seriously, in less than a week? Over 1 million.
Than a week.
Wow. Indeed.
It's after maintaining what appeared to be a perfect 2.5 year record, which we know is total horseshit.
Yeah. North
Korea announced, I don't know why, because that is horseshit. So I don't know why all of a sudden they started announcing this. I'm not quite sure, but anyway. There was an unspecified number of people in Pyongyang had tested positive for the Omicron variant. On Tuesday, the country's state media reported 269,000 more people with feverish symptoms and at least 633,000 people in quarantine and another 6 deaths. I find the deaths a bit, doesn't seem like it's enough if you've got 1.4 million cases. Not that I want people to die, but it just doesn't seem realistic.
Doesn't seem like, exactly.
No. So anyway, so that's 1.4 million reported fever cases. So what is Kim Jong-un regime saying about the crisis? They are saying it's a great upheaval. Leader ordered the country into a lockdown. Did you know that? He ordered the whole country. I don't know how many million people are in North Korea, but I think it's quite a few more than Australia. And he ordered the whole country in national lockdown.
Wow.
National lockdown.
This is a country that's already in lockdown externally anyway.
Pretty much. Half the country are eating dirt.
Yeah.
Restricting the travel of people and supplies. Normal day. Mr. Kim went on to publicly criticize his own government's health officials over what he portrayed as a botched pandemic response, you think? He told a ruling Politburo meeting on Sunday, political bureau, that medicine supplies were not being distributed to pharmacies in time because their irresponsible work attitude and lack of organization. Had nothing to do with him.
Wow.
So good.
And those people no longer live because they've probably been shot dead.
Yes, that's probably true.
Sad to think, but it would not surprise me.
No, he's probably Kim. I just got to show you this room back here. Have you ever seen this? Is a new one. I just have a look. Is North Korea telling the truth? How much can we believe? It's no secret North Korea's country that keeps its card close. It's just blah 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 blah. Professor Robert Kelly of South Korean's Pusan National University says he believes the country must be pretty desperate to come forward. This kind of thing in North Korea usually doesn't tell us because it wants to represent a front that things are great. This is what I just said before. This is the part I don't quite understand. That's what I don't understand. But the rest of the article is there, and I'll make sure it's in the show notes if people want to have a look at that one. So that's me on COVID. Is that you on COVID?
Yeah, pretty much. I was going to mention, I may as well mention it.
Mention it.
Because I'm about to mention it. The US sadly surpassed 1 million deaths just last week, I think it was, since the pandemic started. So, grim milestone.
It is. You can thank old Orange Head for that.
Yeah, exactly. He got them off to a bad start.
Yes, it wasn't a good thing.
No,
it wasn't a good thing.
But they're back on track. Hopefully, that's been a very slow case numbers up in America. But yes.
Sorry, you faded out a bit then.
Sorry, that's all right. I was just saying they're in better hands now. So
they are. You're right. They are in better hands. But you probably know that old Orange Head is wanting to run. He wants to run for 24, which
that's right.
is not good for anyone involved.
No. So let's hope the world wakes up to the nightmare that they had by then.
Well, to be honest with you, I know. To be honest with you, though, we don't even need to be concerned about their nightmare.
We've just got to worry about our own.
Concerned about our own nightmare in a backyard.
The other thing I forgot to mention.
God. Yeah.
Regarding politics and the election, NITV, which is the First Nations TV here in Australia, we're holding a First Nations forum with the Greens' Lydia Thorpe from Victoria.
She's a great operator.
And ALP Linda Burney. And the LNP had... Oh, hang on. They didn't front anyone up. So there's a debate with... Empty chair, pretty much. Nice. So that was on NITV tonight.
Who did Labor have?
Linda Burney.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah. That would have been an interesting debate and see what issues the First Nations people are living through, and might be worth watching on Catch Up TV. I assume they have
Do that? Yeah, I'm not sure. I will definitely want to check that out if they do have that. The other thing I want to check out is that interview with Slow-Mo by Lee Sales.
Do I have to?
Yeah, I just want to look. But I know what you're saying. I know. I just wish Laura Tingle did it.
Yeah, I know.
Been so much better. But anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, we will wrap up there. But just before I do, it's Sir Nichols round in AFL. And if anyone is not familiar with what that means,
that's me.
Sir Douglas Nichols was an Indigenous footballer. He was born in 1906. He was a bit of a gun. He was only 5'2". But so much more to Sir Douglas Nichols. For starters, he's a Sir. He's the only footballer that's ever been knighted.
Wow.
So it's pretty amazing. And then he turned into a pastor. And then he turned into the governor of South Australia. He is a really, really interesting cat. And if you want to, you can go to afl.com.au. There's a fantastic 15-minute documentary on Sir Douglas Nichols. If you don't care about football, does not matter.
Don't watch it.
It's about an Indigenous icon that we all should learn a bit about because what he's been able to do with his country and with his people, it's been pretty amazing. He's an absolute Superman in their eyes. So, yeah. So Douglas Nichols round, and that means that all of the footballers wear Indigenous Guernseys.
Oh,
so
awesome.
It's pretty special. It's pretty special.
Yeah.
Talking about pretty special, as you know, I'll be in New Zealand next week.
Yes.
Flying
out as we're voting.
Sorry, what was that?
Flying out as we vote.
Yes,
on Saturday.
I think that's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah.
So what do they say? They say about New Zealand, they say where the men are happy and the sheep are nervous, or something like that.
What are you saying there?
Nothing. Now, have you lined up next week's show? Do we know what's on?
I am hoping we will have Councillor Nicole Johnston back on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's committed to coming back, and I just need confirmation. So fingers crossed, we'll have another yarn about the election, and hopefully one that we can celebrate.
Yes.
All three of us.
Oh my God, I didn't celebrate the last one. I really want to celebrate this one.
Yeah.
It's just been too long. It's been too long.
Tell me about it. I know, a decade. It's been a decade.
Anyway. All right. Well, that sounds good. That'd be good if that happened. So I'll be in New Zealand, and as you know, we normally do the show at 8. So
I'll still be doing it at 8.
Yes, you will be. I will be doing it at 10. Which I'm not looking forward to. But I'll talk to you more about that. I'll talk to you more about that timing. But anyway.
Other segments for next week? Other segments for next week?
Oh, go for it.
Science?
Yes.
And possibly a new segment. Do you want to announce it?
Excellent. What is it?
Do you want to announce the new segment?
I'd love to. What is it?
Exactly where you're going and where you're going to be.
Oh, right. Okay. It's Blighty on
it's across the Dutch.
Across the Dutch. That's it.
Across the Dutch.
Beautiful. Well, we might as well do Across the Dutch.
May as well.
That's where I'm going to be. So
exactly.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
You'll have 2 or 3 days of getting familiar, and we can have a segment dedicated to New Zealand.
Look forward to it. All right, my friend.
All right.
I will see you
next week.
Very soon. I'll see you from Across the Dutch.
All right.
Later.
With some fish and chops.
Night, Bloodsters.
Bye.
Oh, if you haven't voted, get out there and vote.
Yes.
And make sure you vote on the weekend. And definitely don't vote for the Owen.
Preferential voting does work.
Yes.
It's your choice.
Very important. We need to change this nation, people.
Yes.
Later.
Time for change.